a spruce that I've had for 2 years. We're going into the second growing season. So I acquired this tree last January, and meaning that I've had this tree for one full growing season. And last year, the first growing season that I had it, I didn't do anything but water it correctly, paid very close attention to the water. It's maybe hard to see in the shot that right now, but this pot is enormous for the size of this tree. So were you to water it on a daily basis, the roots would get very unhappy. So last year when I first acquired the tree, since then, what I've been doing is properly watering it and applying a lot of fertilizer in an attempt to get it to regain as much strength and vigor as I could get it to do. And now what we can see here is that all the growth that's alive and healthy is alive and healthy. There's some amount of dieback, but that's from the past, right? And in addition to that, I can see, because I'm right next to the tree, I can see a great many buds back on very old wood. There's one right here. There's one right here. There's a bunch along this old wood. And so if it's along old wood, that's a really good indication that the back budding and the tree itself is quite vigorous, in fact. So last year with no pruning and a lot of fertilizer, we've got it to a point where I can comfortably work on this tree now at the beginning of March, as the buds are just beginning to swell. And what I'll do is I will trim out all this dead, exhausted foliage mass and branches and things, and I'll rewire it. And in a couple of weeks, the end goal is to replant this tree on a rock slab this growing season, right? I don't want to keep it in this pot any more than it is right now. But before I can repot it, because I'm going to plant it on a slab, I need to make sure that it's that the style is the way I want it. I can't plant it onto a slab and then later on go back and restyle it. That's a terrible idea. And I don't want to repot it onto a slab more than once. That's also a terrible idea. So I'll go ahead and style the tree now, and then in a couple of weeks replant it. And I'm comfortable to do both of those bodies of work in quick succession, because I know how this tree is growing, I know how much vigor this tree has, and the amount that I'm going to trim off of this tree is not a significant amount that I would compromise the ability for this tree to rebound if I do both top and bottom work, right? I'm comfortable doing that. In this case, I might not advise that in a general idea. I don't necessarily know that's a great idea, but for this tree specifically, because not only have I had it here at the garden for the past year and I know what it's doing, I've had access to it. I've watched this tree at its previous owner's house for maybe 3 or 4 years. So I'm well aware of what's going on with this tree. I saw how it was behaving when it was at the previous owner's location, and I have seen how it's responded to growing here at my house over the last year. I'm super pumped and real happy to see this dark, rich, green foliage mass across the tree. So I'm ready to do this. No worries on whether or not it's going to be too much for the tree to handle working top and bottom at the same time. Not at all. Again, this pot is ginormous. So I need to get it out of this pot ASAP.